Welcome back to Hey Kentucky. We love catching up with former UK Wildcats, and one of our favorites is, of course, Cash Daniel, who everybody just loved. But Cash has a new venture he's dipping his toes into now. Thanks for being with us, Cash.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So tell me about off season. It's on your YouTube channel. Your first episode was with Jamin Davis, and the first question I have to ask you is, where were you all fishing? Because it was like they were jumping out of the water at you.
Yeah, that particular pond, is owned by a really good friend of mine. It's out in horse farm country out in Nicholasville. So, I got a nickname for it. I call it Candyland, just because the property itself is just so beautiful. Off season is something that I've been wanting to combine for or come out with, for a very long time. Through my college years, and I just wanted to. What are the two biggest worlds that I'm involved in? Or I grew up in sports and I grew up in the outdoors, and so I've met a lot of great people through both ventures, and I've opened a lot of opportunities, in both industries. So, and I've also just experienced just overall joy that I get out of being in the outdoors, and I want to give that opportunity, to so many athletes and former coaches, former players, analysts. It could be anybody that's involved, with sports and any kind of sports, So it's an opportunity for people to get to know the athlete more as a person rather than just the name on their back of their jersey and the number that when they run out on the field or on the court. So it's a really exciting opportunity for me to get out and actually get to know some of these people in bigger depth and have these kind of conversations and see the overall joy that they get when they catch a fish. If we get a deer, if we get a turkey, get some ducks, it don't matter, just so that they're out there having fun and smiling. That's what it's all about. So, and key term off season. So we're obviously trying to get them to where the athlete can come out and experience, the full outdoor experience without having to be condoned with their sport at that time. So we're always trying to shoot for the off season.
Well, this is like a perfect thing for you to do, to mix those things. And in your first episode with linebacker Jamin Davis, fishing allows you to have some time to talk, and you guys did get into some things. One thing that really stuck out to me, and if you don't mind talking about it, I'd love to hear it from you. You actually asked him, "Do you think that I was able to get away with all of the crazy antics that I did on the field because I'm white?" And I just thought that was so profound to think about. How did that thought even come into your head?
With just everything that you've seen, over the course of these past couple weeks and months, there's been a lot of craziness out there, and a lot of bad things that are going on and things that need to be fixed. When I look back on my life and I look back on some of the things that I did and things like that, and it just sit there and made me wonder and actually think about how it had turned out, if I wasn't white. Would I have been praised, more if or less, if I was a black person and if I did some of that kind of stuff, with the Gatorade thing and everything like that. So I mean, it kind of makes me sit back and wonder and think, and reflect. And I think that, as a white person, trying to help the cause and the solution, that's an easy step for you to do, is to sit there and reflect and think about your life and think about, well, okay, am I in this position because I'm this? Am I not in this position? For certain things like that. And so to have that kind of conversation with Jamin, is really easy for me and him. And it's a hard conversation to have, but it's definitely a conversation that needs to be had. I mean, me and Jamin have been roommates, on the road for like I said in the video, for 2 years, home and away. So we've had a lot of time together, sitting there waiting around for 7:30 games and things in that nature. And so, it wasn't like we sat down and said, okay, we got to talk about this. It wasn't that kind of deal. It was just like we were just, friends, and we talked. And, if we were talking about one thing, he would make a comment, about, how that might be different, in his culture, and things, and a black person's culture. And, and that's how you learn. You just communicate and you sit there and you learn, more about, the person sitting next to you. So for me and Jamin to have that kind of conversation, and I wanted to have somebody, that I was, you know, that I was used to having those conversations with on there with me, because I can go in more depth with him, and we could actually, you know, we even reiterated, you know, some of the stuff we were on there talking about, like we've talked about, you know, years before. We were just, you know, bringing it back up, and then that was actually like different points me and him has, like, hey, let's make sure we talk about that time when me and you talked and we said this. I was like, okay, let's do that. You know, and it's important to have even a conversation with people like that you're not comfortable having with. I'm venturing out, you know, and trying to, you know, learn as much as I can. So that part of the video in itself, you know, was really important. And you know, I'm really glad that we were able to shoot it and have that conversation, and, you know, try to help things moving forward. That's all we're trying to do.
We all saw the John Gruden. It's phenomenal. But I understand you do a Mark Stoops.
Oh yeah, I knew. As soon as you brought up the impressions, I knew that was going to be. I knew that was going to be it.
Can I not get just a little bit?
All right, guys. So, you know, Frank, tell them the schedule. What's the schedule? We got stretch, and we got Hoodie, and Hoodie with special teams, and then I got Clink, and then we got Sumrall, and then, you know, John, sit up. So
yes, that's amazing. That was perfect. It's all I needed. Thank you.
Hey, Coach Stoops, I'm sorry. That's out of respect, Coach Stoops. I love you.
Absolutely. And everybody knows that, but yeah, that was pretty good. Your Chucky your Gruden is spot on though.
I spent a lot of time on it. Trust me.
I love it. Kash, thank you so much for being with us. Off season, check it out on your YouTube channel, and we'll be looking forward to that episode with Tim Couch.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thanks, Kash. More Hey Kentucky right after this.